Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Franchise Guys. As you know, I'm Connor. This is Andrew. We're the Franchise Guys, and this week in our trip through Pixar, we are doing Finding Nemo. Take it away, Andrew.
Finding Nemo indeed.
Yes.
This movie had a budget of $94 million. A lot higher than I assumed, but I guess when you're doing all of that ocean you have
Gotta
to
do a
have a
lot.
high budget with that.
Yeah.
It opened with $70.2 million, which is the
Pretty good.
best so far for Pixar.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
$380 million domestically, again, best for Pixar.
Nice.
And this was the first movie that really showed that Pixar was a powerhouse with $936 million worldwide.
Yep.
Um, it is the fifth highest grossing Pixar movie to date. So
Wow.
it is still up there in just how successful it is.
That's awesome.
Even more to how successful it is the best selling DVD of all time.
Just period.
Just straight up, it is the best. It has sold the most copies of any other movie.
Wow. That's a
Yes.
shocker. Yeah.
I was surprised at that too. Bruce the Shark. Do you know where that name comes from?
I don't. I don't know
It
what it is.
comes from Jaws.
Oh, okay.
The shark from Jaws was named Bruce, which was named after Steven Spielberg's lawyer. In fact,
All right.
yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But that's where the Bruce name came from.
All right.
The director of the movie, Andrew Stanton, voiced Crush.
Okay.
And the son of Brad Bird, who directed The Incredibles, which is the next movie on the list,
Yep.
voiced Squirt, his son.
All right.
Some
Great job.
director fun facts for you there.
Yeah. A lot of directors'
Eh,
voices going on in these movies so far.
yes, there is. Yes, there is. And then we see the Pizza Planet truck in this movie during the escape scene where Gil is kind of running through his escape plan and they like fall to the floor. You
Oh,
can see
that's
the Pizza
right.
Planet truck
Yeah,
there.
that's right. I forgot about that. I actually missed it this time, but
Yes.
I do remember seeing that before.
Yeah, it's the one at the in the middle, not
Yep.
the one at the end.
Yep.
Um but yeah, this week was kind of it was hard for me to find some really good facts. So I had to pull
Dig deep.
uh I had to dig real deep for those ones, but I have a feeling we have some good deleted scenes that we want to talk about. Yeah.
Actually funny, yeah, that you had trouble finding a lot of facts because it was very easy to find deleted. There's like in the past movies we've seen like one or two, maybe three deleted scenes. There's like 15 deleted scenes from this movie that I found.
Jeez.
There's a lot, yeah, and some of them aren't that important. They're like that big of a deal. Like there was one where Marlin like they when he was chasing after Nemo after he left the school and found out he was going to the drop off, they show a scene where he's like panicking and swimming through the ocean and stuff like that,
Mm,
which isn't that big of a deal. It's just like a time cutter.
yeah,
But there are a few.
definitely.
There's a few that did kind of change how the movie would have hit. And the first one is there's an alternate opening where because the original opening is them kind of like admiring their house and looking over the ocean and everything, and then it goes into her like tragic death scene.
Hmm.
The alternate opening is all of that basically happens in like bits and pieces in Marlin's mind while he's trying to sleep. So it's like he's having a bad dream, like remembering her death,
Mm,
and then he wakes up next to Nemo, and it's that first day of school day. So
okay.
it's definitely not as tragic as the opening scene, and not as intense. It doesn't give you that much of an emotional connection to the characters as that first
Yeah.
scene does. Um, and then there's a scene that I don't exactly know when this would have happened necessarily. Maybe this also might have been an opening scene. It didn't say it was, but it's it's Marlin telling Nemo a bedtime story about his mom's death. So he
Hmm.
kind of talks about his mom and like how the ocean took her away and all this stuff. Um, and then The first deleted scene that I thought was funny was when we first meet the sharks. Uh, Bruce brings the fish to them, and when we first meet the other ones, they're playing volleyball outside of the submarine, and they're using one of the sea mines as a volleyball. And they keep
Oh.
saying, "Don't drop it, don't drop it." And then Dory's like, "What happens
Interesting.
when you drop it?" And then it gets dropped and it explodes, and Dory's like, "Oh, that's what happens." I
Interesting.
think that was also kind of a time saver because it would have been funny, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Um, and then I guess they originally had a different idea for Gil's character in mind because they had a sequence where he tells or Nemo like asks him, "So what part of the ocean did you come from, Gil?" And Gil tells him like, "Oh, it's the really sketchy part of the ocean. It's this area that looks like a like from above it looks like a human skull." And he's like, "But I have a bunch of family there." And then he lists off a bunch of names. And then the other fish kind of start talking to Gil, and Nemo kind of goes off on his own, and he sees uh, a dad and his kid in the waiting room reading like a children's book that the dentist has in his office. And the
Mm.
book is about this place that shaped like a skull, and all the names that you hear Gil tell Nemo were names of the children in the book. He was kind of like lying
Mm.
about his past,
Yeah.
kind of thing, which made Nemo not trust him as much. Uh, and then there was a couple other.
Nemo can't read.
That's true. Well, the dad was reading the book to the little kid, and of course they can all
Oh,
speak
okay, okay.
English, so that's natural.
Yes.
Um, there's other two other ones that I found that aren't that big of a deal, but are worth mentioning. Are after Nemo got flushed down the spit thing. There's a scene that they took out where it was just him escaping through a sewage treatment plant rather than just the pipes. So it's like a whole
Oh.
sequence of him like getting sucked up and going through like a whole bunch of those like metal grates that like are supposed to stop sewage from getting to the
Mm.
ocean. And then I don't know when this one would have taken place, most likely in the beginning, but it wouldn't have really been a good beginning scene, I don't think. So it's hard to tell, but they had a whole sequence of how Marlin and Coral met, basically.
Oh, okay.
I don't know when that would have happened in the movie. I can't find a good place for it, so I imagine that's why they probably removed it.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much everything I had. There's some good ones, some weird ones, but a lot of them to be honest. There's way too many.
Cool. I say before we get into the plot, I ask you this question. What did you think of Finding Nemo?
I liked it a lot, dude. I forgot how much I liked this movie actually. In my mind, it's like one of those ones I kind of like sweep under the rug just because I've seen it so many times. But dude, there's like there's so many scenes where I was literally cracking up. Like I think this is one of the
Mm.
movies that we've watched so far that I've laughed the most. I even texted you earlier. I was like, "I'm obnoxious." That scene, dude,
Yeah.
every single time. And I was thinking about it. I was like, "There's so many memorable lines in this movie." Like even
It is
now,
very quotable.
yeah, dude, even now, I literally was like saying the lines with them. Like, and the last time I saw it was probably like 5 or 10 years ago. And I could remember like half the movie. just it's
Yeah.
just so memorable. I really like it a lot. How about you?
I agree. I do really like this movie. It is I agree with you. It is one that I like 6 months from now, I'd be like, yeah, it's a fine movie. But then when I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's actually like really good. You
Yeah.
know, it's it, I don't know. It has that quality to it where you remember it less fondly than the movie is actually good.
Yep. I 100% agree with that.
Um, but it is a very very good movie. I really do like this movie
Same.
a lot.
Glad we can
Um,
agree.
yes. So let's get into the plot now.
Yes. Let's.
So we open up. Marlin and Coral are just very openly and loudly bragging about having the best view in the neighborhood.
But yeah.
Um, and they decide, you know what? Let's just name all 5 million of our children right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
And Marlin is the laziest motherfucker in the world because he's just like, this half is going to be Marlin Jr., this half Coral Jr.
Yep.
And then she doesn't argue. She's like, okay, that's fine, but at least one needs to be named Nemo.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay, I'll give you one of them.
I'll give you one. There were
Um,
400 apparently.
did you also notice with the names, both of them are named after something that actually exists in ocean?
Yes, I did notice that. Yes.
Marlins are fish, coral is obviously coral.
Yeah.
Um,
I immediately thought about that too when I remembered like what their
yeah.
names were. I was like, hold on.
Yeah, I never even realized until this watch.
Nice.
Um, but after they name all 5 million of their kids, a barracuda appears and it kills Coral and all but one egg,
Yep.
which obviously Marlin will now name it Finding Nemo.
That's what he names it. Finding Nemo. Yep.
Yep, yep. First name Finding, last name
There, Finding Nemo.
Nemo. We then jump forward, I assume a few years. I don't really know how time works for these fish,
Yeah,
but
no.
I'll just say a few years.
Let's say.
And it's Nemo's first day of school. He's very excited.
First day of school.
Marlin is not very
No.
excited. He is just a ball of nerves about leaving Nemo, or Nemo leaving his site. He's just freaking out.
He sure is. I don't remember how many
We
stripes
arrive.
he has.
Yes, doesn't even know how old is he, and he doesn't even know. we 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 arrive at the school drop off, and some of the fathers just want Marlin to tell them a joke, and they realize, like clowns in real life, he is just the furthest thing from
Not
being
funny.
funny.
Not even a little bit.
The children decide to introduce themselves to Nemo by just naming their disabilities to him. That's just how they introduce
Yeah,
themselves, and
that's very true.
somebody needs to tell these kids that disabilities do not define who you
I'm
are.
H2 intolerant.
Yeah. Like, imagine me just coming up to you and be like, "Hi, uh, I'm gluten intolerant. How are you?"
Hi, gluten
It's
intolerant.
just so weird,
Is that your name?
but it's so funny every time
I
because
know.
these kids have no idea how to be social.
Right.
Nemo goes off, and during their class, Nemo and the disabled kids from earlier sneak off to the drop off, where they see a butt in the distance,
They sure
which is
do.
actually a boat,
It's actually a
but
butt, but okay.
nobody calls it a boat. Let's be honest. Marlin follows, and then he sees Nemo near the drop off. He thinks he's gonna swim out to the open ocean, and then, like any little asshole kid around his age, decides,
I'm gonna do it.
well, now I'm gonna do it just to prove you wrong. He swims all the way out to touch the butt. And then Nemo is immediately taken away. And the swimmers then use a flash grenade to stun Marlin, who
Yep.
then cannot follow them because Marlin is just. They don't want him to. They don't want a taken situation here, you know?
Yeah, of course. He could definitely do it too. He could do
Oh,
it to
yeah,
him.
for sure. I mean, look at what he did.
Yeah, look at what he's gonna do right here. He's gonna go crazy.
After he comes to, he starts to follow the boat. And then once he kind of
He
the boat
loses
is
track, right?
obviously too fast, and he
Yeah.
loses track of it. And he meets Dory for the first time, who said that she saw the boat. And then, like 3 minutes later, she's like, "Why are you following me?
Yeah.
Leave me
Who
alone,
also
you creep."
introduces herself with her disability.
Yeah, again, we get another character who is like, "Hi, I'm disabled. How are you?" Um, but she does have short-term memory loss.
Yes.
Uh,
And then Marlon says, I know funny, I'm a clownfish. You know.
yes, which again, clowns aren't funny. Clownfish aren't funny. They just need to stop. Marlin and Dory then run into Bruce the shark, and Bruce the shark takes them into the shark's lair that is a submarine surrounded by these naval mines that you were talking about earlier.
Balloons.
And I think cutting that deleted scene was a smart choice because for kids who don't know what
Yeah.
those are, I think it's a lot more of like a oh my god type thing
Yep.
when we see them all explode at the same time.
Yeah, that's that scene where the missile's going and it like slowly and it goes tink. That's like such a good scene.
It is.
So
While here at some point, Marlin sees a scuba mask that was dropped by the divers that took Nemo. Luckiest motherfucker in the world, I'll tell you
yep,
that right now.
it sure is.
There's a whole ocean, and of course, they find just this small little mask
I
in it.
never knew my father.
The sharks want to make friends with fish until Bruce he gets a taste of that sweet blood that we all love
Yep.
so much, and he just goes crazy trying to get
Berserk.
Dory. Berserk, dude, just insane. Um, this all leads to, like you said, the missile being launched out of the submarine, hitting the naval mines, and just explosions everywhere.
Yep.
Such a good scene.
Amazing.
We are then following Nemo, who gets dropped into a fish tank as he rams his face into every side of it.
Yep.
And then we meet Aunt Deb, Bubbles, Jacques, Gloat, and Peach.
Yep. Don't
The
forget about
tank
Flo.
gang, as I like to call them.
Don't forget about Flo.
Oh yes, and Aunt Deb's sister,
Sister.
Aunt Flo,
Yep.
who is crazy, so don't listen to her.
Yeah, don't listen to her.
The fish tank gang are very into watching this dentist do
Yep.
things to people's mouths, and I gotta say, those fish are disgusting, and
Yeah.
they need to stop
They need
because,
help.
like Gloat said, human mouths are disgusting,
Yep.
and the last thing I would ever want to do is watch a dentist do something to somebody's mouth.
Agreed.
Nigel flies into the window out of sheer excitement for this tooth-related gossip that's happening.
Yep.
He again, these animals, man, they just
They're invested.
have a passion for dentistry.
It's
Don't
like
know
a
what's
soap
going on
opera to
with
them.
It is. And Nemo has a new mom, guys. Her name's Darla, the cutest
Question mark?
little girl. No, she's the worst. She's actually the worst. She's like a Sid 2.0.
Actually, really
Um,
quick, I just remembered some things. There was a deleted scene where the fish were watching a soap opera on the TV in the waiting room. So that might have influenced their whole uh intensity with watching the dentist do his thing. They kind of replaced it with him instead of an actual soap opera.
that makes sense.
Yeah. But anyway,
That
Darla. Oh,
I
what's up?
actually like that idea. Anyway,
Yeah.
yes, this freaky little child, Darla, who's Sid 2.0.
Yep.
Um,
Literally.
and Nemo freaks out about this being his new mom. He tries to swim away and gets caught in the filter pipe. And
Yep.
then Gil, I don't know why he was hiding,
He
but
just wasn't ready
he
to talk
decides
yet.
to show himself and makes Nemo grow up a little bit and get himself out of the pipe.
Yep.
We are following Marlin and Dory back again. They get to the bottom of a very, very deep trench where they begin fighting with an anglerfish as she reads the words on the back of the scuba mask. Do you know what those words are?
Sure
Everybody knows
do.
what these
How
words
could you
are.
not remember these words?
P.
Even Dory
Sherman,
does.
42 Wallaby Way, Sydney.
Yes, sir.
As I don't know, like, that is just something that everybody knows,
I
right?
wonder if we could do a survey and like just to random people on the internet and see if they remember this. We just ask, do you know what the mask in Finding Nemo said? Like, do you know where the dentist place is or whatever? We could word it some way, but I'm pretty sure everybody
Yeah.
would remember.
I think a very, very large majority would, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that it's one of the most iconic uh addresses, I feel.
Oh yeah.
Like, when I think of addresses, it's one of the very, very few that I think of.
It's one of the addresses that you can remember, even though you have to like remember your own house and like where your job is and all that stuff. Like,
Exactly.
you'll never forget that one.
Exactly. After that, we jump back with Nemo. who is then initiated into the tank group by going through the dreaded Ring of Fire,
Amazing
which
scene.
is just bubbles, and it's so funny.
The part where they're
Back to
singing.
Marlin. What was that?
The part where they're like singing as he's going up to the top, and the one guy just can't stop singing. It cracks me up every time.
Yes, and his new name is Sharkbait.
Yep.
Sharkbait ooh ah.
Mount Wanahakalugi.
Yes, that's such a good name.
I know.
Such a good name. We're back with Marlin and Dory, who Marlin tries to get rid of Dory yet again, and then a school of moonfish start to make fun of Marlin because he's being a dick.
Naturally.
But then he gets his feelings hurt because apparently only he can be a dick. So he pouts and leaves.
Yeah, naturally.
They decide, okay, or Dory talks to them and they decide, okay, we'll help you. Go through this trench. Do not go over the trench.
Yep.
So what do they do?
Immediately go over the trench.
Literally seconds later, they decide to swim over the trench because Marlin won't listen to Dory.
At least they get to meet Squishy.
Yes, little Squishy. It's her little Squishy though.
Yep.
They swim into a. I didn't know how to word this, so I just said a field of jellyfish because that's really what it was.
It's a murder of jellyfish.
Yes, it is a murder of jellyfish. They decide to race through it, and Dory gets really badly hurt. Really, both of them do, but Dory gets the worst of it.
Yep. He gets destroyed.
We jump back into the fish tank. This is where we get the escape attempt scheme, like thought process here, and this is where we see the Pizza Planet truck, and they send Nemo through the filter to try to block it, literally almost killing Nemo, just like Charlie Bucket and his grandpa in the Willy Wonka movies.
Yep.
Marlin, we are back with Marlin and Dory, who are now with the sea turtles, where we see Crush and Squirt.
Best.
Crush is such a good character.
Truly.
I love Crush so much. If anybody goes to Disneyland, Turtle Talk with Crush, underrated, so fun.
I don't think I've been to that actually. To be honest with you.
Have you?
I don't think I have.
I went for the first time a couple years ago, and it was so much. It was so funny.
In Disneyland?
Yes.
Nice. I'll have to check that out next time I go. Dude.
They are on the East Australian Current, headed right for Sydney. So perfect. Lucky them yet again.
Yep.
He starts to tell all of the turtles like what he's gone through, and that story starts to make waves through the fish community. See what I did there? Because
it was pretty good.
It was pretty good. Ocean, because there's waves in the ocean.
I think so.
Eventually, it reaches Nigel, who then rushes to go tell Nemo and the fish tank gang what Marlin has done. At first, he doesn't believe him because, let's be honest, Marlin was kind of
a pussy.
I didn't want to say that because, like, with what happened, I feel it.
Understandably so, for sure.
But with lack of a better word, honestly.
Yeah.
But then he says that yes, it was Marlin, and Nemo, with his newfound courage, goes through the filter yet again, and this time actually stops it.
Yep.
We are then back with Marlin and Dory, who are then eaten by a whale after Dory after Dory speaks whale. Yes. She does not try. She actually does. That is, it is proven.
It's canon. Yep.
It is we may not know it yet, but it is proven that she knows how to speak whale.
Yep.
And then they are spit out of the whale hole, and guess where they are? They're in a bay in Sydney.
In Sydney.
Yeah, of course. We jump back to the tank. It is absolutely disgusting.
Yep.
And all of the fish are super excited
After like
about it.
5 minutes, it's disgusting.
Yeah, of course. And then they wake up the next day and there is a new, very, very high-tech filter in the tank that they can't do anything about. Like, they're pretty much screwed. And then the dentist takes out Nemo in a bag, and then the Michael Myers of fish enters the office.
Yep.
She's ready for her next victim, guys. You know who that
Her
victim's
eyes,
gonna be?
her eyes are literally crossed in this scene. I just
They are.
realized.
They're literally just. They have no soul behind them.
Nope.
She's just ready to murder.
Just murder. Yep. That's all it is.
A seagull. Are they seagulls? No, they're not.
Pelicans.
Pelicans.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Almost. We're
A
getting there
pelican
though. We're getting there.
Yes. A pelican tries to eat Marlin and Dory, who then chokes on it. Nigel helps him out and then finds out, oh my god, this is Marlin and Dory. They're running away because obviously, why would you
Pelican.
not run away
Yeah.
from these crazy birds? And then we see what I like to call the mine birds.
Yep. That is accurate.
Moin.
Moi? Moi?
Those birds, God, as a kid, I thought those birds were the funniest things ever put on TV.
Same, dude. I laughed every time.
I was like,
So
they keep
good.
saying the same word.
So funny.
Nigel takes Marlin and Dory to the dentist's office, where they see Nemo, not Nemo, Nemo
Harpo.
pretending to die, and Nigel. There's some chaos that ensues here, where Nemo ends up right next to the spit drain, and Gil jumps out of the tank to help him out and get him down the spit drain into the ocean. Marlin is distraught because he saw his son belly up and was like, was all just a waste of time, and he's lost everybody at this point.
Yep.
Literally seconds later, Nemo comes up and finds Dory.
What's up, nerds?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, hey, what I miss? Where's my dad? They eventually find Marlin after threatening to murder a crab with the seagulls,
the mine
which
birds.
was really funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll talk. Every time.
And they're happy together, you know? They're back together, finally. Then we skip ahead a undetermined amount of time. I assume it's like a few months. Because it seems like a lot has happened, but not too much, you know? Marlin wakes up Nemo this time, eager for the school day.
Yep.
And like any comedian out there, Marlin becomes funny
immediately
through trauma.
Yeah, through trauma.
Yeah. No comedian is funny without some sort of trauma in their background, and that's just what he needed. He needed more trauma than his wife and all of his kids dying. He needed to take that to the next level.
Yep.
And then during the credits, we see the fish tank gang escape into the ocean, but they're still in their bags. So let's be honest, they're probably gonna die, but they're gonna die in a place that they want.
This scene always annoyed me because I always think, and I still kind of do think, aren't the pufferfish, are they spiky? They're spiky, right?
I don't know how strong their spikes are.
As a kid, that annoyed me because I thought they were spiky, and I thought he could easily break out of the bag, but I could be wrong.
They probably, I mean, like, you would assume that Nigel will fly by and like,
most likely
help them, but still, like, that's not in a good predicament.
I don't think that we see them in the second movie, do we? So there's definitely no proof that they're alive.
I actually don't know. I've only seen the second movie once.
Okay.
So it's been a while, and I don't have that information at my fingertips.
Gotcha.
But there's a chance that they're dead.
Is this the first movie with a post-credit scene, technically? Not including like deleted scenes? Or like
Is there a post-credit
the
scene?
gag scenes? Yeah, this scene with the
Oh,
little
I see what you
green
mean.
fish.
Yes, it is.
Nice.
Yes.
I always like this little
And
scene.
I did too. But that's Finding Nemo.
It sure is.
Hell of a movie, I'd say.
Agreed. 100%.
And now I don't know how interesting this part's going to be. It could be very interesting. We rank the movies at the end of each watch. Right
Yes.
now, our list looks like this. Number 4 is Toy Story
Yep.
1. Number 3 is A Bug's Life. Number
Sure
2 is Toy Story 2. And number 1 is
Monsters,
Monsters
Inc.
Inc. Connor, where does Finding Nemo land on this list?
I already have an idea in my mind of where this
Okay.
lands for me.
Okay.
But I have a feeling that you might disagree with it. We might have to have a little bit of give and take here.
All right. Where do you think?
So I have actually realistically I have two that I'm okay with. It's tough because since this list is already such a mess, it's like there's I was talking about this with you last week, like, is it better than this movie? Yes, but is it better than this movie? No. And since the list is already kind of a mess, it's like that already. So for me, Finding Nemo would land either above Bug's Life or above Toy Story 2. It's tough because I don't know if it's better than Toy Story 1, but I think it is better than Toy Story 2.
I will say this. There is in no reality I want to live in where Finding Nemo is under Toy Story 2.
All right, then we agree with that. So that's at least going to be number 2.
Yes.
The question now is
no. Absolutely not.
Is it better than Monsters Inc?
Absolutely not. Monsters Inc. is still top tier.
Right.
Finding Nemo is great.
I think we have our answer then.
But it is not even close to Monsters Inc. in my opinion. Monsters Inc. is at least up to this point, the perfect Pixar movie. It has everything you want in it.
Yep, I can agree with that. Honestly, I think I'm 100% okay with it being in second place currently.
I am happy with that number 1 and 2.
All right,
for sure.
That was easy, man.
So our updated list currently.
Yep.
Number 5, Toy Story 1. Number 4, A Bug's Life. Number 3, Toy Story 2. Number 2, Finding Nemo. Number 1, Monsters Inc.
Yes, sir. That's it. That's what it comes down to.
Connor, why don't you let everybody know what we're watching on Thursday? This Thursday.
I am certain that you are as excited as I am about this. We are watching the first Incredibles film. And it is an incredible movie. I am very excited for it. I cannot wait.
It.
I do get it.
Yes, the Incredibles.
It's been a while for me. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie.
Really?
Yeah, it's probably been probably the same as Finding Nemo, like 5 or 10 years in that range. I don't know exactly, but it's been a while.
This is a movie that I watch semi-regularly.
Really? Okay.
Yes. I even had the Incredibles game on my PS2.
Nice.
So, and they had like a lot of it was one of those games that had the movie cutscenes in it.
Yeah, yep.
So there are like a lot of scenes that I have seen so much through that game that I like associate it with like, oh yeah, that was a cutscene.
Yeah. I feel you. I think I had that game as well, but I don't think I ever beat it because when I didn't either. When I was a little kid, if a game was too hard, I didn't play it.
Oh, same. There was a level with Violet.
Oh yeah.
That was like, I think it was like the second Violet level that you had to like race through. It was so hard for me as a kid. I was like, I can't do this.
I feel. But that.
Anyway, yes, The Incredibles. Yes. I'm very, very excited to watch that and rank that. And then And then we get into Cars.
Yeah, we sure do. Let's not talk about that though. For this week,
Yeah, let's not talk about that
for
yet.
this week we got
That's
The
next week.
Incredibles. Yeah.
So
Which we will be
Thursday,
doing Thursday. Yeah, Thursday at 6
yes,
p.m. I will not.
yes,
I will not forget this time.
I will not let you forget this time.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
All right. Well, that was a successful list. I'm glad that it was easy. I was afraid that you were gonna put it above Monsters Inc. or
No.
you were gonna
Yeah.
fight for Toy Story 2 to be above it, and I was ready to bring out the boxing gloves here.
This was my, like, in my head when I was thinking before we started. This is what I was thinking about. So I was worried that you were gonna say it was better than Monsters Inc. as well.
Oh
So
no, 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 no,
yeah. So
no, no, no.
all right, that is
It,
the official rank.
spoiler alert: it is gonna be hard to beat Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
might be coming up on some in the next few weeks that I think can beat it. But
I'm excited
we'll
because there's
see.
been ones that there's ones on here that you haven't seen yet, and I think that's
That's
part of
true.
the thing in your mind. We're like, oh man, that might beat it. But from what I know about how you enjoy films, obviously it's a toss up because I don't know how you're gonna react. But I think it might stay up there for quite a while. But we'll see what happens. That's the whole reason we're doing it, is to see what happens, right?
Yep, that's the fun of it is the list,
Yep.
especially with both of us having very different opinions a lot of the time. It's gonna get messy. I can already know it's gonna get a little messy.
It already is.
Yeah, cause like there's some movies that I like. I was really low on Toy Story 2.
I know.
I think it should be last.
We're not going to talk
That
about.
is where it's gonna be hard. Like, are some of these movies better than A Bug's Life? No, but is it better than Toy Story 2?
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
probably.
And that doesn't take much.
No. Yeah, I know that's. We don't talk about 3 through 5. Let's just forget that happened.
No, that's it. This list is gonna be a mess.
I feel like every single film we watch the question's gonna be: is it better than A Bug's Life, but worse than Toy Story 2? And the answer is almost always gonna be no.
I honestly, spoiler alert. Other than Cars, I think everything is going to be. I think Toy. I think Toy Story 2, Bug's Life, and Toy Story 1 are gonna stay where they are in the bottom
Okay.
three. Other than Cars, I think Cars will be under it, but I think everything else will be above Toy
Which
Story
is
2.
a
Personally,
travesty for you,
it's not. It's not.
considering Bug's Life is so high on your personal list.
That's fine. That's fine as long as Toy Story 2 gets its uh gets its due.
Maybe after years of us doing the franchise guys, we can do a revisit and we can reevaluate our list.
I will tell you, my thoughts on Toy Story 2 will never change. I have felt like this since I was a kid.
No, I'm talking about reevaluating the order of the list so we can
No.
get Bug's Life out of the bottom 3.
I mean, I don't think like Bug's Life is going to be a bottom tier movie with a lot of these movies, and I think that's fine.
All right, fair enough. And we actually do have our own personal lists, but one of the reasons we wanted to do the franchise guys is so we could have a complete list of our clashed opinions. So, but yes, that was Finding Nemo. And like we've said several times, we are the franchise guys, and we are going to be doing The Incredibles next week. Or sorry, Thursday.
This week.
Thursday at 6 p.m.
Thursday. Yep.
And we will see you all there. That's it for this week. So thanks for being here, guys. And like I said, we'll be back on Thursday at 6 p.m. So see you then.
Bye.